She never shouted, never complained, never cried out loud. But her silence, it screamed the loudest. And today, if I stand tall in front of you, it's because I finally understood the language she spoke best, her silence. I was 12, the first time I realized that my mother never said I love you. Not once, not in words. She didn't hug me before school. She didn't clap when I won the school race. She didn't cry when I got hurt or when Dad forgot my birthday. Other mothers would scream with joy, cry with sorrow, or scold with frustration. My mother, she just stayed quiet, and for a long time I hated her for it. I thought she didn't care, but this story isn't about what I thought. It's about what I failed to see until it was almost too late. We lived in a small, dusty town in Pakistan. My father was a mechanic, hard-working but hard-headed. His voice was thunder, and his temper even louder. My mother, she was the calm before and after every storm. Every morning she woke up at 5 a.m., prayed quietly, cooked for the entire household, packed my father's lunch, polished my shoes, and saw me off to school without saying a single word beyond, "Go carefully." One winter night, I was sitting on the floor doing homework when I saw her sewing torn fabric under a single flickering bulb. Her hands were cracked, her eyes tired, her shoulders thin from the weight she carried, but she never said a word. That night, I blurted out, "Why don't you ever say anything? Don't you feel anything?" She didn't even look up, just kept sewing. I hated that. As I grew older, things at home got harder. My father lost his shop during an economic crash, and his rage became more frequent. He would shout, plates would break, the door would slam, but my mother always silent. She took beatings without a cry. She wiped her own tears before anyone saw them. And when I got angry at her for not fighting back, she looked at me with the kind of stillness that haunts you years past. I got a scholarship and moved to Lahore for college. Freedom tasted like rebellion. I stopped calling home. I surrounded myself with friends who laughed loud, lived fast, and didn't ask questions. But even in that chaos, there were moments I missed her silence. The quiet way she tucked in the blanket when I pretended to be asleep. The way she left an extra roti on the stove, knowing I'd eat after everyone. Still, I didn't reach out, not until I got the call. It was a cold evening when my uncle called. My mother had fainted at work. She had been working as a cleaner in a local school, alone without telling anyone. "Why didn't you tell me?" I shouted into the phone, even though I knew she couldn't hear. I rushed back home, and when I saw her lying in the hospital, bed-worn, fragile, with oxygen tubes, I broke, not because she looked weak, but because she never once told me she was struggling. I held her hand, and she opened her eyes slowly. "Why didn't you ask me for help?" I cried. She looked at me and whispered for the first time in years, "Because you were becoming everything I prayed for." And that's when it hit me. Every act of silence was a sacrifice. Every quiet morning, every skipped meal, every hidden bruise, every word unsaid was love. She wasn't quiet because she didn't care. She was quiet because she cared too much, gave everything without asking for anything. That night, I sat beside her and remembered all the nothing moments that were everything. The way she always waited up for me. The way she never ate until we were full. The way she never asked for gifts but saved every coin for my books. The way she folded pain into peace, with silence. After she recovered, I didn't go back to Lahore. I stayed, got a local job. It didn't pay much, but I started teaching kids in the evenings, kids like me, who misunderstood their parents, who thought love had to be loud. And one day, during class, a student asked, "Sir, who inspired you to teach?" I smiled and said, "A woman who taught me everything without saying a single word." Now, years later, I speak at schools and community centers. I tell this story not because it's unique, but because it's everywhere. There are mothers across the world whose love is quiet, but endless, whose pain is silent, but deep, whose power is not in words, but in what they endure without complaint. If you have a mother like mine, go to her today, hold her hand, say thank you, because she may never say she's proud of you out loud, but if you watch her closely, you'll see it in her silence. My mother's silence taught me everything. It told me that strength doesn't always roar, that love doesn't need loud words, that the quietest souls often carry the heaviest burdens and still smile, and that silence is not the absence of feeling. It's the purest form of it. Fade to black, gentle instrumental music. A quote appears, "Sometimes the loudest lessons are whispered in silence." Ask ChatGPT.